everybody. Hi, it's great to see you here this morning. Let's stand up together and sing our congregational song, which is Deck the Halls. You'll find it on the left side of your program. We'll begin with beautiful singing. And I'm dressed like a Hindu wearing a cross, so we're having kind of an interfaith celebration today. But I'd like to start this interfaith celebration a little bit about Hanukkah miracles.
So I went shopping, and this was a curious shop in an Arab shop. So I spotted this relic, this Jewish Chanukiah, and I'll describe to you what it shows. It shows two lions that are embracing the menorah, which has 7 branches and crowns, and then you have the Torah, the 10 Commandments, and then you have olive oil and little wicks. So as I do the prayers, Rick, you're going to light the candle. The first one is the shamash, and you light the shamash, and then you light them from left to right. So the first blessing we say, let's see, is a blessing over the Hanukkah candles. You abound in blessings, source of light, our God, ruler of all words, who has made us holy with your commandments and has commanded us to kindle the light of Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam lechadrik nesher Hanukkah. Then the second blessing is said every night also, and it's about the miracles. You abound in blessings, source of all, our God, ruler of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehasa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. So what is Hanukkah means? Hanukkah was a miracle in 2 ways. The ruler of those times, which was Antiochus Epiphanes, thought he was God, and decided to oppress the Jews, not allowing them to practice Judaism, and desecrating the temple by conducting sacrifices of pigs, and by erecting statues of Zeus. So the second miracle was that a small army of soldiers led by Judah Maccabees, so they were called the Maccabees, was able to conquer the Syrian army and reclaim the holy temple. So now the original menorah was always lit, eternally lit in the temple, and was 7 branches. So Hanukkah means dedication. So dedication, cleansing. They had to cleanse the temple and relight the menorah. So they looked for oil and only found one vial that would only last about 1 night. And the miracle is that it actually lasted 8 nights. And so it's a testimony of a faith that first, to even light 1 candle to last 1 night was actually a leap of faith. So when I wanted to know about the spiritual message of Hanukkah, I addressed the request to my brother-in-law, who is the Rabbi Lotker, and who is a community rabbi in Ventura County. And this is what he had to say. He said, the message is, 2 messages of Hanukkah. You have enough. How many times in life, indeed, each day, do we think, if only I had more time, more money, more strength, more patience, more help, more friends, more love, more understanding? The list is endless. One of the deeper spiritual lessons of Hanukkah is that with confidence in God, what you have is enough. The Maccabees did not have sufficient troops, sufficient supplies, or sufficient weapons to defeat a much larger armed force. But with God's help, they did. There was not enough oil to be able to last the needed 8 days, but with God's help, there was. What was soiled can be made clean and pure. Imagine what the Jews found when the war was won. The sacred temple, where one had to be in a state of ritual purity just to enter, completely defiled with pig's blood, idols, and every kind of dirt and filth and trash. So much garbage that it would take huge amounts of water and efforts to clean. But what was foul and filthy could once again be made into the most holy and pure spot on earth. So it is in our lives. No matter what we've done, no matter what type of trash we have allowed into a sacred precinct, our lives, our soul can be made pure again. Once again, the key is God and the determination to commence a Chanukah, a rededication of our lives. We are never so far gone in our lives, in our relationship, in our work, in our experience of God, that we cannot repair the damage and cleanse our own sanctuaries. So this year, as you light the candles and warm by their glow, open yourself to the possibility that you have enough of what you need to make your world into the beautiful place that you want it to be. May you have a joyous, peaceful, and meaningful holiday season. Chag Sameach, and so it is.
Thank you. That was so lovely, both of you, Jana and Eliane, and Rick, for your candle lighting. Thank you. He's not paying attention. It's okay. I said thank you, Rick, for lighting the candles. Okay. And let us breathe together and simply know that we are part of that light, that beautiful light that was kindled in the menorah that we saw, or whether it's the light of miracles, the miracle of homecoming, the miracle of reuniting with lost children or lost faith. Let us reunite in this perfect moment with the power and the presence of the living God that is who we are right now, no matter what. No matter where we've been, no matter what we've done, that light is still powerful and intact and so loving within us, for that light can never be extinguished or violated. And so let us breathe and relax and center into an embodied knowing of that inner light. And feel that light grow within us. And as we feel that light grow within us, it fills our bodies, it fills our minds, and it radiates outward, filling this entire spiritual center and going beyond the walls of this spiritual center to embrace our beloved community, our beloved world, and our beloved universe. Today, when we sing together, I am remembering who I am, let us remember the light in ourselves and the light in all beings as we sing together and bless the world as we remember. And remembering the miracle of light in the darkness and the miracle of darkness in the light. We see everything as part of the unbroken wholeness that is spirit, and recognize that miracles happen around us all the time. They happen through us all the time, and that today is a day of miracles. So with that consciousness, let us breathe in deeply. And then exhale, opening our eyes, loving what is as it is, and so it is.
There's only light. We are the light. There's only light. We are the light. This is the truth and the beginning. of everything. You are the light from the great sun. I am the light, born of the one. This is the truth and the beginning of everything. Light flows from one source. It cannot be divided. You are the light from the great sun. I am the light, born of the one. This is the truth and the beginning of everything. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's beautiful. Thank you. So it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Reverend Kusala Bhikshu.
Happy to be here. It's winter solstice, change of seasons, shortest day of the year, significant to a lot of folks around this globe of ours. I was just thinking the other day about enlightenment and wondering if I was ever going to make it. You know, it's a daunting task when you think about it, because what is it? You know, everybody talks about it. Some people try to define it. And yet it turns out we're all sort of stuck with a definition that may or may not apply to the concept of enlightenment. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've come to understand it is and why I may or may not ever achieve it. When I started reading books and listening to people. And most people have an opinion about everything, and they were happy to share it with me. And I was reading all these books, and some were esoteric, and some were theological, some were poetic, all trying to wrap their words around this thing called enlightenment. And it worked for me for a while. I had a definition in my head, and I had a plan and a goal, and I found a path to take me in that direction. And the more I walked on this path, and the more I understood what it was, the further away I got from enlightenment. I was going in like the wrong direction because I had an intellectual understanding and not an intuitive or physical realization of it. In the Zen tradition, they say the finger pointing at the moon is never the moon. And I was looking at the finger. It was a nice finger, unlike some I see on the freeway. But that's not it. That's not where we go. That's not what it's all about. So then I found a meditation center and I started to meditate. And this, I thought to myself, was the way. This is how it's going to work. I'm going to sit for hours at a time. And then I'll be sitting for weeks at a time and months at a time. And one day, all that sitting will pay off. And I will be enlightened. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I'm not sure if anybody would hire me because I was or wasn't enlightened. And then I found Dogen. Dogen is a 12th century monk from Japan who started the Soto Zen tradition. As a young man, he went to China, found an enlightened monk who trained him, taught him, and it's said that Dogen became enlightened. And he went back to Japan and started the Soto Zen school. And there's a wonderful book I've been reading called The Essential Dogen, Shambhala Press. And this is what Dogen said about meditation. Meditation, Zazen. Now the word Zen means meditation. It's the Japanese word for meditation. So Zazen would be sitting in meditation as opposed to walking in meditation or standing in meditation. Zazen is the Dharma gate of enjoyment and ease, an intimate expression of the unity of all life as it manifests in human form. Now, what that meant to me was if I'm sitting in meditation, I'm sitting in enlightenment. And when I'm not sitting in meditation, I'm not enlightened. When I'm sitting in meditation, I can hold all the precepts a monk or a nun takes in their ordination and not break one of them. And as soon as I get up off the cushion, I'm doomed. So I started to meditate, and I started to see that there were moments of self-transcendence. Now, I like self. I think self is good. I think we need self, and we should appreciate the fact that we have one. But some say about self, it's a good tool and a horrible master. And if I can use self in my journey to enlightenment, I should. But how about if self prevents my enlightenment? How about if this thing that I cherish keeps me alive every day, tells me what I like and don't like, gives me opinions, allows me to criticize? This little thing called self, how about if that's the problem? And I can remember back in the 1980s saying to myself, maybe it's all about killing the self, and then I'll be free from the self. And then I'll have no obstacles ahead to achieve enlightenment. But how wrong was I? Because a lot of people lose self along the way. Sometimes we call it Alzheimer's. And you know what? Life doesn't work very well without one for a human. Now, I take care of cats. Little cats have a cat self. Dogs have a dog self. But humans have an amazing self. And I thought to myself, if I am sitting in meditation and find those moments of transcendence where I go beyond self, that might be a portal into the realization of enlightenment. So I continued to sit, and I found on occasion that I went beyond self. And it was really cool. And then self would take credit for it. But I suppose that's to be expected. And I continued to sit, and I continued to sit. And still do today. It doesn't end, it continues. And what I came to understand is one night you'll go to bed, and the next day somebody else will wake up. Whoa. Now you have to introduce yourself. Wonder why the other guy decided to drop out of the process. And now you have this little incremental growth that occurs through meditation that at one point in your practice allows you to come to a place of enlightenment. You go back home It's the path to going home. The interesting thing about this path is you're never home alone. Now, you may, at this point, decide who's there with you. I was talking to a Carmelite nun one time, and she said, in our meditation practice, we get to these really subtle places as well. Stillness, peace, quietude, but we notice in the corner, someone's there. We call him God. I said, as a Buddhist, we go to those places and no one's there. If there would be somebody there, it would freak us out. So the Buddhist kind of enlightenment, going back to the source, if you will, finding home again, being embraced by the universe, however you want to describe it, simply means this, according to Buddhism and the Mahayana Zen tradition. Enlightenment is the direct experience of the interconnectedness and interdependence of all phenomena. Easy for me to say. But what that means in just a basic way is that we have always been and always will be connected to everything all the time. We have never stood independently. It is an illusion created by self. That the true nature of human experience is this family of everything, from the dogs to the cats to the trees to the moss. They are us and we are them. Unfortunately, you can't live there very long because we have stuff to do. Self has stuff to do. I'm doing laundry later on, not because I want to, but because self says it's very important. So I can't sit in peace and bliss and enjoy the freedom of being interconnected and interdependent very long, because it doesn't lead to anything positive on this earth, according to most people. That sitting in meditation for a lot of folks is just a big waste of time, because there is stuff to do. And we should be doing it. Well, I agree. But it's in how you do it. Ram Dass says it's a dance. It's a dance between the relative and the ultimate. That we have one foot in our relative reality, and we have one foot in our ultimate reality, and we need to choose which is the most appropriate in our experience of the present moment. Sometimes we run into category error, where we're thinking one thing and doing another, assuming everything is going to work out, but we're not in the relative and we're not in the ultimate. We're lost and confused. I love this definition of enlightenment, which is in the book, The Essential Dogen. An enlightened person is someone who embodies the deep understanding of non-duality while acting in accordance with ordinary boundaries, not being bound to either realm, but acting freely and harmoniously. So we have this non-dual ultimate awareness of the interconnected and interdependence of all things. We have this relative, separate, alone feeling, it's us against the world. Both are necessary. The one that's optional for most humans is the non-dual. The one that's mandatory for most humans is the dualistic interpretation of the present moment experience of our life. And we spend years in school, we read hundreds if not thousands of books to intellectually understand our place in the universe and our relationship to everything else. But that is a separate way of looking at things. It doesn't lead to peace, and harmony, it doesn't even lead to goodwill because it's mine, not theirs. So what happens when you have this experience? What happened when the new guy woke up that day and says to you, hey, we got work to do. Now, what kind of work are we going to be doing? We're going to be working for the other, for all the people in the world. We're going to become bodhisattvas, Buddhist saints, who put others in front of themselves. On the way up, I was listening to NPR. I often do that to get depressed. And what they said was amazing to me. I was watching the news last night, and they had, of course, film of all the shopping centers. And everybody is so happy, and they're carrying bags, and people are saying, the recession is over. And then NPR says there were 58,000 homeless people in Los Angeles County right now. And you just go, wow, look at this paradox of joy and happiness and sadness and aloneness, sometimes even desperation. And how the self, how the ego can rationalize and make that normal. There are always going to be homeless people. We never have enough. The big sale is on. The more I spend, the more I save. It makes perfect sense. But you know what? If you don't spend anything, you save a lot. So this idea of the bodhisattva comes out of this direct experience of the interconnectedness and interdependence of all phenomena. Now you no longer will ever have a day off. That you will look around and see all the people who are suffering because they are separate and they are desperate. And you have come home to the wholeness of enlightenment. You now have the capability to go in various situations and not have to be anything other than helpful. That you can make a difference in everything you do and every place you go because you see this interconnectedness and interdependence. The Bodhisattva vows, I will save all sentient beings. I'll work on saving all sentient beings. If there's one human who is suffering, I, as the Bodhisattva, will relieve, reduce, and ultimately end that suffering for that person. And we've been doing this now for 2,600 years as a Buddhist. And has suffering been reduced in the world? Doesn't seem to be the case. We seem to be suffering in new and fantastical ways. It's just amazing how many ways humans can suffer. And so as you come to this realization that you are part of the solution, because now you have a unique perspective, you now are going to be doing this lifetime after lifetime. The end of this life, according to Buddhism, leads to the next life. And then you find your dharma and your practice and your meditation cushion, and you have that experience again, and now you see all sentient beings are suffering. And you go, wow. Now, does that mean you have to suffer as well? No, not at all. In fact, you're going to have a really good sense of humor about it. You're going to be able to see the paradox in all these different situations. And in paradox, we find humor. For instance, I've said this before, but it's one of my favorite paradoxes. The guy goes to Yosemite and asks the gamekeeper up there about bears because he's deathly afraid of bears. He doesn't want to see a bear. And there are plenty of bears in Yosemite. And so he asks, what do I do when I see a bear? Do I climb a tree? Do I run? Do I stay in place? And he said, no, what you need to do is you need to run as fast as you can. Now, he thinks about this for a moment and realizes that a bear can run twice, if not 3 times as fast as he can. So why would the forest ranger, in this case, ask him to run? So he says, if the bear's going to catch me, why should I run? And the forest ranger says, it gives you something to do before the bear kills you. And so life is sort of like that for us, huh? Life gives us something to do before it kills us. And the good thing about being a human being is we get to choose what we're going to do. And sometimes our choices are right on, and sometimes they need a little modification. So I have found in my exploration of the Dharma, my attempt to sit on a regular basis, transcend this little guy who's speaking to you right now, to come to this place of enlightenment and the interconnection and interdependence of all phenomena, that I need to really be skillful, because I start to see things other people don't see, and I don't want to bum people out. Only if I'm invited to speak. So here we are in this holiday season, and it's glorious, it's wonderful. We even have Enlightenment Day. The Buddhists in December have Enlightenment Day, so we have our own little celebration that we do. But we have the birth of Christ, we have capitalism, we have the winter solstice. We have so many things to be thankful for. And yet there's much work to do. So we can't rest on our laurels. We need to get up off the cushion. We need to go out into the world, and we need to make a difference. And we can start by not adding to the suffering. And I was asked today, why didn't I bring my ukulele? I said, well, I don't play very well, and I don't sing very well. It doesn't stop me, though. But I didn't want to inflict it on you and create more suffering. So as we become skillful and wise, we start to see there are things we can do, and more importantly, a lot of things we don't need to do anymore to make this place, to make this world more comfortable for our family, which is everything and everyone. Now, I did bring my harmonica today. Because I always get the Christmas blues. And I can't think of a better way of expressing those Christmas blues other than through a harmonica. So here we go.
What do you say after that? Let's have a prayer. How about that? All right. So let's turn within and just breathe into this beauty, this wonderful love that's in this room, whatever it is. We have no name for it, but some of us call it God, some of us call it universe, some of us call it life, higher power. And today I learned to call it the family of everything. The family of everyone and everything that is my family, that is your family, that is the family of all of us. This shared interdependence, this grace, this goodness, this wholeness that embraces both the appearances of opposites of good and bad, of joy and sorrow. I simply breathe into this wholeness and allow it to fill my consciousness, to fill my awareness, to resonate in my body, and to know that this wholeness is who I am, because I am everything. And when I say I am, I don't speak about the individual me, but I speak about the collective I am. The I am that is that interconnectedness, that is that grace that has given us everything, that has given us all things, whether we like them or not. And so I move past that place of personal opinion into that place of connectedness, into that place of knowing and just trust that something magnificent is being born within me, giving birth to itself within me this very perfect morning. And so in this place, I recognize that the love of God, that the life of spirit, that the heart of the universe is who I am. And because this is so, I am connected with everything. And because I am connected with everything, I open myself to receive and to know when other beings are suffering, and to know what is mine to do and what is mine to accept and what is mine to laugh at and cry with. I simply receive the mystery and accept my place within it as I surrender my life to that mystery, to that universal higher power, and say, yes, Spirit, I am yours. Please use me in whatever way brings the most good to the family of everything and everyone. So I am just so grateful for these words that have been spoken, so grateful for our beautiful music, so grateful for everyone that has participated in making this service of darkness and light so magnificent. I'm also grateful for the changed hearts and opened lives that have occurred here because of this time together. And I know that our work is powerful, and that it not only changes our lives individually, but it changes our lives collectively as a community, and the change ripples out to bless the entire world and that which is beyond the world. That which is universal, that which is beyond the veil of living and dying. And so I am grateful. I am grateful for the darkness and the light. I am grateful for enlightenment. I am grateful for whatever leads to enlightenment. I am grateful for whatever is beyond enlightenment. And with a heart so filled with gratitude, I bless this teaching, and I bless all teachings. I bless all paths to God, churches, temples, mosques, and ashrams. I bless atheists. I bless fundamentalists, knowing and trusting that everyone is a blessing beyond my opinion of them. And in this spirit of blessedness, knowing that everyone here is a blessing in their own unique and wonderful way, together we release this word to the magnificence of the mystery, trusting that something has already said yes to it. We release, we let go, we let God, and together we say, and so it is. Please repeat after me. I am held in Spirit's holiness. Divinely guided by wisdom, courage, and love. I am always connected. I seek God in everything. I create joy on earth as I share my blessings. Thank you for my life. And so it is.